Today we're going to talk about dumpster pad cleaning. We're going to go through all the steps it took to clean it, but if you watch this process, you're going to see how bad it was before we started. We're going to show you things in the comments. We'll share stuff there so you can get products, things like that as well, so you can do it. I'm Mike Kinderleiter with Powerwash.com at Powerwash University. We've got an extremely dirty one here for you. So we've got this grease receptacle back here, which used to be barrels. They had some barrels in here. Sanitation company came out here to empty the dumpster, knocked over the barrels, and just made this huge mess. This grease is really thick on the concrete. In some places, it's probably 1/4 of an inch thick. What happened is, the grease got in here, it got underneath the dumpster, it kind of rolled out the door, and it even came back here into this corner. Right over here, the water flows across, so you see all this area is really nasty. It's important if the customer keeps this clean on a regular basis so that buildup doesn't happen, it doesn't draw bugs and things like that. You can even see here, it's really, really thick. It's got a lot of buildup on it. It dries like that. It's almost like being inside a kitchen exhaust hood as well. So we're going to use a soap that is specifically designed to cut kitchen exhaust grease. Kitchen grease is different than the grease you normally find in a parking spot or on a parking lot that drips from cars. That's a synthetic type grease. This is normally an organic type grease, and we will use a detergent specifically for cleaning this. First thing we may do is we're going to come in here, we're going to put a solution on top of that. We'll let that set. We're actually going to scrub it in because the buildup is so thick. Then we're going to come back, we're going to blast with a roto nozzle. Usually I don't like to use roto nozzles, but because this is such a thick buildup, we're going to need some blasting power on it. And we'll probably have to hit it a couple times to get as clean as we want. But one of the more important things is that when we're cleaning this, we want to use hot water. This is not a cold water job. You don't want to use a cold water machine on this. You definitely want to use a hot water machine. The other thing is that as we're cleaning this, we've got all this runoff coming over here. We actually have a very nice setup because normally we'd want to use something that's sucking up the water as we're doing it, like a surface cleaner that has a vacuum hooked up to it. We don't have to do it in this case because the water's going to run down, it's going to flow over here, and it's going to run right in to this runoff on the side of the property, this little channel that goes into the grass. So we're going to set up a vacuum system over there to suck that up. That'll go into our truck. Now that I've talked about that, let's go mix up the soap that we're going to use on this job. So the detergent we're going to use today is going to be Green Beast, or sometimes known as V502. We also have Clearly Clean Extreme. Both of these products are basically identical. The difference between the two is that one has a color marking dye in it, and that's what we're going to use on this job, so it's kind of easier to see it. Some people don't like the color marking dye because it goes from an orange. The product itself is kind of orange, and when you put it with water, it turns green. It looks kind of like a antifreeze. I have a lot of customers that absolutely love being able to see the soap. Other customers don't want to see it because they don't want people to freak out. I'm going to take down the Green Beast. I'm going to set it here next to my 5-gallon container, which I've already put about 2 gallons of water in, and I have a mixing cup. So the strongest strength that we want to mix this at, 8 ounces to a gallon. That's normally 1 cup. Our strongest mix is going to be 2 cups to a gallon, which is 16 ounces, and that's what I've put in here now. I just put in 16 ounces, which is 2 cups, and since we got 2 gallons, I'm going to put 1 more cup, which is double the mixing instructions on the label. Why do we do that? Because we always want to go into solution, and I want a really strong solution for this particular job because it's so nasty. And you can see as I took it out of here and put it in here, see how it's starting to turn that lime green color already? So that's what we get. So now I'm going to grab something to mix this with. I got a little pole here. So just start mixing this up. Now the other thing you can do is you can take the power washer and just put it down in here, but you want to be real careful. Usually I like to use a 5-gallon carboy to mix it up in, so when I pull the trigger on the pressure washer, it doesn't shoot everywhere. And because it's a strong solution, it's got some strong chemical, so if you get a little bit of the powder on your hands or anything, you're going to feel it. It's warm now because of the chemical reaction that's taken place to put this into solution. You know, give it about 1 minute to 2 minutes of agitation to get everything into solution. What you want to make sure of is that when you mix it this strong, it may not always get 100% in solution. That's why I recommend mixing it at half that strength. But the strongest strength may get a little bit of product still at the bottom. If you have that, just add a little water. I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna put it into a pump up sprayer, because that's how we're going to apply it. There we go. Now I'm gonna hand this off to one of my guys and let them start doing the cleaning process. So now we're working with one of the local contractors here. They're applying the product to the food base or organic grease. We're gonna let it set on there. We're just gonna give it a chance to kind of soak in and start to loosen it up. And then we're gonna come back and start hitting this with a roto tip to start blasting a lot of this heavy product off. The problem with any product that you use isn't always gonna cut through that top layer. Once we get this to loosen up, we're gonna blast it, then we'll probably come back and hit it again so we can start getting it up out of the surface and leave a nice clean surface. But again, remember, it most likely will have a stain because of all the stuff that's soaked into the concrete. It's not all gonna come out. So we wanna start at the back and work our way toward the front. The idea is to clean a clean spot toward the back of the dumpster area, so that once that's clean, you can stand back there and blow forward. If you do it reverse, you're gonna clean the front, you're gonna be blowing all the mess to the back. So clean about half toward the front, and then you're gonna go toward the back and start cleaning toward the front of the dumpster pad. And if you can ever get the customer to pull the dumpster out before the cleaning, it makes the job so much easier. So now you can see he's at the back of the dumpster pad. He's blowing all the water and mess out of the dumpster pad. So as the water's flowing out of this dumpster pad, it's coming over here and it's flowing right down to our wash water recovery system. This particular setup is with vacuum. So we have a vacuum hose running out here, and then we have this recovery device which has holes in it, so as the water hits it, it just starts sucking it up. Goes into the hose, flows back to the truck, goes through a couple of separation tanks, and then goes into a holding tank so it can be legally disposed of in accordance with the local jurisdiction. This much greasy water should never run off a property anywhere. It is far too nasty. It has way too much gunk and crap in it. It has the degreasing chemical in it. It has the grease, the hydrocarbons. It has all the other stuff that should not go into the environment. So we need to take it and get it treated properly before this water goes back as a natural resource. That's a whole nother training thing for, but we do it legally. That's how we take care of it. If you want to learn more about wash water recovery, check out our training course from Powerwash University on wash water recovery. All right, so while he's on the outside blasting, we're going to do another coating on the inside because this is so thick, it's going to take layers to get it all off. This isn't uncommon on a dumpster pad cleaning. So now we got a majority of the grease off where the cooking oil container was sitting. We're going to go do one more application. It may not be final, but it should be. So we can start to see that the staining is here. We look back over here compared to that. You'll see no staining here, staining there. Still got some clumps of grease on the surface because it's just so thick. There's hardly any grease on the surface anymore. The grease that's here has dried on the surface. It's been there for a really long time. And it's almost like a rock. So if we can scrape it, to pop it, it helps. So we'll just do repeated applications of the chemical to help break it up and blasting, and eventually we'll get it all off. All right, so now we've got the majority of the cleaning finished. So we're gonna do the final rinse. The final rinse is probably one of your more important cleaning aspects when you're doing a dumpster pad, because if you watch and you paid attention, even me getting close, I've got grease splattered on me, it's popped on, it's gotten all over. So it's gotten all over this area out here now. What we don't want to happen is have the customer come on site, drive through that and start tracking it everywhere, or they walk through it and track it into the restaurant or the establishment, wherever you did the dumpster pad cleaning. That will create a lot of issues. So when we finish up here, We're gonna rinse all of this area down, push it to that corner, and be finished with the job once all this is clean and it's better than when we came. Okay, so now the guys are finishing up. They're doing the final touch-ups on the cleaning from this deep dumpster pad cleaning. So let's go over here and take a look at what they did. So check this out. Man, I'm telling you, what a huge difference this is. There's something that is so gratifying about seeing the end results of a cleaning job. You know, it's just like, dang man, I can't believe I made it look that good. And that's what we got with this deep dumpster pad cleaning. Now keep in mind, this surface had to have anywhere from 3 to 5 years of buildup on it. And it took several applications of power washing and detergents to get all that off there. Normally, this job would take anywhere from 15 minutes on the quick side after applying the degreaser to 30 minutes on the high side if it was on a regular cleaning process, but it wasn't, and that's why we had such a hard time here. But now you know how to do it, and if you watch in the comments, we'll give you links and stuff to the products and everything we used here so you can do it too. So that's how you do a deep dumpster pad cleaning. I'm Mike Kinderleiter with Powerwash.com. Hit the subscribe button, hit that bell so you can see the notifications when we post up new videos. Have a successful week. Take care.